Calling all units, calling all units. Donut shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.
It's those gosh darn street takeovers.
Yep.
People don't understand that. They're like, oh, is this traffic? What's the problem? It's lawlessness. It's the start of something. It's the little crack in the boat.
Correct.
That starts. If you don't take care of those little cracks, they become something bigger. And it has shown already. It started with dirt bikes, the wheels up stuff. Let's ride the wrong way. Now let's take over this. Let's go to that. And then little by little, it's getting very violent now. We had, I know locally we had shootings at some of these takeovers, and they do it on highways and they do it on intersections. And I know recently we've it's pretty much enough is enough, and now it goes with like local law enforcement. There are some restrictions as to how we could approach, and then we team up with agencies that might have different policies, a little more lenient, or that's just their forte. And I know recently there have been a lot of agencies come together, and you guys are I would say one of the leaders in this. And I wanted to see if you could weigh in a little bit, because it's something that definitely, even though some might have an issue with. By what I mean by that is saying, it's not that big of a deal, but it affects everybody. It affects everybody, because little by little, that's going to turn into something huge. And if it's not already, you saw it from the beginning to where it is now. Who's to say if it continues, where is it going to be? So I want to see if you could weigh in on that a little bit.
So cancer starts the same way.
Yep.
And it ends up killing you if it goes unabated, right? And law enforcement over this last generation has gone away from, I'll say pursuits. First of all, a lot of agencies don't participate in pursuits for a variety of political or operational reasons. The Florida Highway Patrol, we see things very differently than a lot of other agencies, right? So we train our troopers to be in pursuits. I encourage them to participate in pursuits. Our leadership does. Our policies allow them, and in the very near future, you'll see a new policy that allows us to box in motorcycles that flee. But my position is that you're well trained. We trust you to do a job. Every time we shut our lights off and let someone go, that cancer grows.
Yep.
And we are in the midst of a cycle here where motorcyclists, the people that drive these fast cars and do this road rage intersection type stuff, they run for the fun of it. And if you have a trooper behind you, it'll be about 10 to 15 seconds before that trooper pits you and puts you in a ditch. And that's what we're doing in Florida.
That's what I'm talking about.
And there was just a pursuit. An armed robber and a rapist from Fort Lauderdale went through 3 jurisdictions, Palm Beach County. Our troopers are out there. We invest a lot of money in them on how they learn to drive at high speeds. We just allocated $20 million for a high-speed pursuit course to be built in Tallahassee.
Sir,
we're going to have you out there. It's going to be a nationally renowned resource, not just for the Highway Patrol, but for our partner agencies. But we are very pro-enforcement, and we are very pro-law and order. And so the trooper out there, if you see him, know that he's empowered to do what he needs to do to get that car off the road, because each and every one of those vehicles, whether it's a motorcycle or it's a Dodge Charger with loud pipes on it, or it's a Miata that can't go over 80 miles an hour, it doesn't matter. If you're operating it in the way that we've seen, it's a deadly missile. It's a bullet it's gonna kill somebody. And we're not going to tolerate that. Now, does that mean we're going to be able to stop it unilaterally? No. But FHP sees a very real space for us to participate in this effort. If we can't, I said earlier in this podcast, if we can't provide value to the city police department and the sheriff's office, then we don't have a strong future. So we very much see pursuits and pursuit intervention, whether it's through our aircraft, identification through aircraft, unique strategies like boxing in motorcycles, or just putting people into a ditch. The Florida Highway Patrol is well prepared, and they do that every day, and I support that.
So you're saying it's going to be a little more lenient now, or there's going to be more opportunity for them to perform the precision immobilization technique to pit?
my direction is that if the vehicle flees, then a pit maneuver should be executed as soon as practical thereafter.
Oh,
That's it.
seems good enough.
Straightforward.
Hopefully that becomes a blanketed for all agencies. I know it's not going to. It's just a boy could wish.
Well, and listen, where do we operate, right?
Yeah.
We operate in areas where that technique can be used pretty effectively. Is it
Yeah.
easy to do that technique in the heart of Fort Lauderdale city
Absolutely.
proper?
No.
But if we get in behind somebody, my expectation, the colonel's expectation, is that we don't allow that pursuit to continue. You execute a pit maneuver and you take them into custody.
I like it. That's one of the things that when we do get authorized, when it meets the criteria for us to get behind a vehicle and pursue them, we hope that they get onto the highway.
Right.
Because when the moment they get on the highway and we see the black and tans coming up, you kind of just gonna move out of the way and let them get in and handle business.
And that's one way we can support local law enforcement, right?
Yeah.
We have those big bumpers on our car.
Yes.
We have
Right.
we have the training, and we have the. I said offline before we went live is that being the executive director of this department, one of the things that I love about it is that we're insulated from the day-to-day politics and the drama that goes on with it. We have a mission. I'm told to execute on that mission, and we do that. And so we don't get into the nitty-gritty of what is popular today or not popular tomorrow. You run from the police, then you should be held accountable.
So you're not following trends, you're following tradition.
We're following the law.
You like
right?
that?
Yeah.
That could be a bumper sticker.
I like that. I like it.
We're not following trends, we're following tradition. I love it. So I'm a fan. I know because we don't get to do the pit maneuver. However, sir, I have done several pit maneuvers on a TV show.
Yeah, you were a TV star.
I was on a Discovery Channel, and I was on a TV show where it was street racers versus, well, they called us pursuers at that point, but we were police. They were all police from different parts of the nation, and they selected me. They found me on YouTube. I don't know. I guess I do some videos about police cars. Like, have you ever been in a chase before? And I was in our tactical robbery unit where there was plenty of containments and pursuits and yada, yada, yada. We're not going to get into that. But I was on there, and just so you know, and I don't know if it's just in the Florida stuff, but out of everybody on the show who was sanctioned to do pits, and one guy who wasn't, they said that I had the most technically sound pits. Can you believe that? And I had the highest number of pits on the show.
Because you've sat and watched and gone, this is how you do it. If I were ever allowed to do it,
Yeah.
you like salivated on
Yeah.
doing it. And so the other guys got to do it, and they probably,
Hey, listen, at one point a book had to be written, okay? And that guy had no book to write it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
So it was in the blood. I could be the reincarnated version of that
Well,
person.
here's the other side of that coin, though, if
Yeah.
I may, is our policy redraft also encourages intentional contact. So PIT is a very precise
Yes.
intervention, but when you have somebody driving down the wrong way in the interstate and they're about to kill a family of four, I don't care how you get that vehicle off the road, whether you ram the side of them
Yeah.
or you do a precise PIT maneuver. What do we say? Eliminate the threat.
Yeah.
And
Tampa on the Skyway.
Correct. Tony
Right,
Shuck, Trooper of the Year.
Yeah, Trooper of the Year. Yeah.
So proud of her.
Yeah.
So I'm not familiar. Can you elaborate
He's
a little
probably
bit?
got the story.
Yeah.
Well, so our Trooper of the Year for last year and the National Trooper of the Year is a Florida Highway Patrol trooper named Tony Shuck. She was on patrol on the Skyway Bridge. There was a marathon going on, and the video is so impactful. And there's there's a DUI person who broke through the barrier and is headed towards the marathon itself at very high rate of speed. Tony, Trooper Shuck, was on that bridge, and she made an intentional decision to drive or to maneuver into the front of that vehicle that was coming right at her.
Oh.
You need to watch this video.
Head on, dude. Yeah, same thing.
And
Goosebumps.
someone-
head on, boom.
Someone told me after the award ceremony, because everyone's aware of our pursuit policy that we're about to put out, that it's going to come from a place of trust, right?
Right.
We're going to trust you to do your job. And I remember someone telling me that she was fearful that she was going to get in trouble because intentional contact wasn't permitted by the policy.
Yeah.
I don't want a trooper to ever second guess themselves when they're in an enforcement posture.
Yeah.
That's what my leadership and Colonel Howe's through the governor, that's where this agency is headed, is we trust you to do what you need to do to get the job done. And if we make a mistake, right, we're going to learn from it. You all have been in pursuits. The first pursuit that you're in, you probably don't remember much about it. You had the tunnel vision. Yeah. By the fifth or sixth time, you're much more tactically aware of your surroundings, what you're doing, where they're headed, working with other units. And so I encourage our troopers to be in these high stress situations, because the more you do it, the more effective you're going to be, and the safer we're going to be at it. And so that's where the Highway Patrol is headed in Florida.
Yeah, to touch back on his policy, there's always that joke. You'll win Officer of the Month, but then also here sign your write-up too, because as she was fearful of, she's going to get that write-up for an intentional maneuver.
Never again.
Yeah,
never again in the Florida Highway Patrol.
That's an exciting thing to know that your administration backs you.
It's good, and to have that second guessing. I mean, I hope people are listening that are not police and understand what is going on with officers these days, and officers don't do anything. I mean, there's a lot of that where they're scared.
Yeah,
being seasoned, I guess you can say I'm a little seasoned. You're preserving life at that point. There's a whole bunch of people, pedestrians, and there's somebody coming. They got to eat it, whether you have a policy or not, and then you just deal with it afterwards.
Right.
Well, not just deal with it, but instead of putting these people in fear that they're going to be disciplined, we celebrate their sacrifice.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be awesome.
Okay, I want every trooper to know that we love what you do, we appreciate what you do, and you do God's work. And the colonel and myself and our administration have your back 1,000%. And if you want to work at a place where the leadership is on the same page as the PBA, which is on the same page as the troopers, go to beatrooper.com. Come be one of Florida's finest, and know that you work at a place where we support you and we love you and we appreciate you.
Hey, what's up, guys? If you like that clip, go over and check out the full episode at Donut Shop Podcasts. Link is down below in the description.